All right, Shalom, Yasharala, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rahai Kodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone that rule well and that teach well. Ba'ashem Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rahai Kodash. Wa Shalom, Wa Barakim to the elect, beginning with the 144,000, which is scattered abroad and in every place, redeeming the time, ready to be saved. Shalom. Alright, it says global warming is beginning to mirror the Bible's end of the world scenario. Alright, so this happened, this was published May 5th, Friday, May 5th of this year, which is 2026 at 11 p.m. Alright, so it's still fresh. Alright, and it takes like it's 3-minute read. All right, and this is right here, this image that we see is the Euphrates River. All right, and this great river is being dried up at a significant pace, and this is something that they're not really showing on the mainstream mainstream news. All right, this is something that is important, man, very, very highly significant. All right, this is this plays a major part in prophecy. All right, and seeing this, and we're gonna read some of it. Seeing this proves that World War III is going to definitely pop off, shortly. All right. And I'm pretty sure other brothers know about this, but for those that don't know, all right, here you go. It says the Euphrates River, a waterway closely tied to both early civilizations and biblical history, is shrinking rapidly. You see that? It's shrinking rapidly as rising global temperatures, prolonged drought, and heavy water use increasingly strain fresh water supplies in the Middle East. All right. So the Yahweh Shema Shai ultimately fulfilling his promise. All right, and he's doing it by turning up the heat on earth. All right, because just think of it like this: if you wash some clothes, right, if you for those of you that that may hand wash your clothes, your garments, all right, and versus a hot day, a really, really hot day, and a not so is hot but not that hot. All right, which of those days you dry your clothes in would dry your clothes the quickest. All right, and me personally, I hand washed my clothes before, and I know when it was extremely hot outside and I would set them outside, they would dry just like that, man. Like especially if it's a breeze, that'd be probably like 30 minutes, versus a day when it's probably like 90, 80 degrees. It'll dry quick, but not as quick as it would if it was like 110 degrees outside, man. All right, with no clouds in the sky. You know, it would dry pretty quick. And so this is what the Lord is doing. He's turning up the heat so that, you know, the river can, and the water can evaporate quicker. All right, and this goes along with, you know, him speeding up the times. All right, you know, because he's trying to do. The Lord is forwarding this prophecy fast. All right, because this right here, this river is prophesied to be dried up in the book of Revelation, which, you know, the Esau, they know about it, and that's why they have it written right here, because it's written in Revelation. What is it? Revelation. It's like, excuse my lack of memory. Let's see. Yeah, okay. It was Revelation 16 and 12. All right, and we'll get that. All right, but let's read this for a little bit. It says the Euphrates River. Oh, we already read this, but this part, it says that has renewed interest. That, like this. Well, let's read this over. It said the Euphrates River, a waterway closely tied to both early civilizations and biblical history, is shrinking rapidly as rising global temperatures, prolonged drought, and heavy water use increasingly strain freshwater supplies in the Middle East. That has renewed interest in a passage from the book of Revelation that describes the Euphrates drying up before the apocalypse or an end of the world scenario. That's right. And this right here is also is going to lead to much more famines. All right. You know, the scriptures talk about the shortage of water. You know, hey, these are terrible times that we in, man. You know. The Lord is pretty much, making good His word, and those of us that got spiritual eyes, we know exactly what's going on. This is, when I saw this, man, I got excited, man. Because this is the Lord. He's literally, fulfilling His word right before our eyes. What was written in Revelation in 16 and 12 is happening right before our eyes, man. All right? It says, that has renewed interest in a Bible, in a passage from the book of Revelation. And you see, like Yahushua said, blessed are those that have not seen and yet believe. You see, you gotta understand that, we already knew that, we believe wholeheartedly that this will happen. We even prophesied about it. All right? And believing in that report ourselves. You see? But some people, they don't believe until they see these things, man. And the world, hey, Yahushua, he's showing, he's backing his words up, man. All right? And this right here, this river, the great Euphrates River, drying up is going to be the fall is going to be resulting in the fall of many. Especially those in that region. All right, let's read on. It says, what's that? It said the book of Revelation, written in the late first century, includes a reference to the great river Euphrates drying up. That's right. And I just gave you the chapter and the verse. It says nearly 2,000 years later, that imagery is drawing attention because the river is indeed losing water at an alarming rate. So now people are getting scared. Oh, Esau is getting scared. You know? They're getting scared, man. Because they see that these things are actually coming to pass, Salaka. You know? Because, like it said, by this river being dried up, this is a sign of the end of the world. It says right here, an end of the world scenario. What is this? The end of Esau's world. You know? When you go to the back, what did the disciples ask Yahweh Shai? They want to know a sign of the end of the world. What would be the sign of the end of the world? And Yahweh Shai gave him. So, we already expected this, man. We already expected this to come, and now it's here, and hey, we rejoicing in the spirit. We ain't scared. That's how you know if you see these things. Hey, that's why. Matter of fact, let me get that real quick in the book of Jeremiah, because really the heathen are scared, beginning with Esau. It's that Jeremiah chapter 10. This is Jeremiah chapter 10. I start at 1. Hear ye the word, right? And what's the word? The Bible, the scriptures, which the Lord speaketh unto you, O house of Israel, right? And that's how you know this whole Bible and the entire Bible, from the beginning, the Old Testament, the New Testament, is for the Israelites. All right? It says, thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven. What is that? What is the signs of heaven? The prophecies. All right? The prophecies are the signs from heaven. So to be not dismayed, meaning be disturbed. Okay? What does it say? For the heathen are dismayed at them. That's right. And that's what we seeing right here. That's what we seeing right here. It says global warming is beginning to mirror the Bible's end of the world scenario. And like it said that it's alarming to people, man. Yeah, what it say right here said nearly 2,000 years later, that imagery is drawing attention because the river is indeed losing. Oh, no, that ain't the one I want. But what it says right here, yeah, I just read it, but yeah, it says that has renewed interest in a passage from the Bible. So and pretty much like it said, it's alarming. It's a alarming rate, losing water at an alarming rate. Right, so hey, the people are getting concerned now because of what's happening to the Euphrates River. All right, the Lord is showing His power. All right, and drying up, these great rivers. You see, and let me see. Read this again. It said the book of Revelation, written in the late first century, includes a reference to the great river Euphrates drying up. And literally 2,000 years later, that imagery is drawing attention because the river is indeed losing water at an alarming rate. The Euphrates stretches about 1,800 miles from Turkey through Syria and Iraq, helping sustain the region historically known as the Fertile Crescent. But, but satellite data has shown major freshwater losses across the Tigris/Euphrates basin since 2003. Whew. With tens of cubic miles of water disappearing per Unilet Tech. So that's nothing to gloss over, man. All right, and the Tigris, you have four great rivers. Euphrates, Tigris, Gihon, and Pishon. All right. So you have these two great rivers being dried up, and that's gonna lead to a lot of shortages. Matter of fact, I believe when you read on, it goes into how serious this is, man. All right, because this is gonna lead to famines as well. Which is what leads to a lot of deaths, and we've been prophesying about this. All right, it says Hydro J. Flamageli, a professor at the University of California, described the trend as especially severe after the 2007 drought. It says he also warned that the alarming rate of decrease in total water storage in the Tigris and Euphrates River basin currently has the second fastest rate of groundwater storage loss on Earth after India. According to the Iraq Ministry of Water Resources, the Euphrates could lose most of its usable flow and be dry by 2040 if this continues. It says the Euphrates is not just symbolically important, it is a crucial source of drinking water. See that? Irrigation and day-to-day survival in a region that has depended on it for thousands of years. Wow. When a river begins to shrink, the impacts can spread quickly. Less water for crops, more pressure on households, and deeper instability for communities already dealing with extreme heat and conflict. And this is what's coming. This is all part of the plan of Yahweh Shema Shai. And why? Because of your sins. Because of the sin is of you people, man. Because of the wickedness. All right. That's why the Lord is sending this plague upon this place. He said more severe weather driven by rising temperatures can threaten lives and livelihoods in the immediate term. Longer droughts and harsher heat waves can destroy harvests, right? Reduce access to safe drinking water. All right, because the water will soon not be safe, all right, to drink. Let's get that in I believe that's it escaped me, but yeah, pretty soon the water is going to be polluted. If one drink of that water, and this is going back to the plagues that was sent on ancient Egypt. The Lord destroyed their water, defiled their water. It says longer droughts and harsher heat waves can destroy harvests, reduce access to safe drinking water, and increase the risk of heat illness, malnutrition, and respiratory problems linked to dust and wildfire smoke. These disruptions can also undermine local safety and economic stability as farmers lose income, food prices climb. Now, what you see? What is that? That's in Revelation, the 6th chapter. You know, super hyperinflation. That's going to be a thing. That's coming, right? And it's all and this is the factor of those events. You know, let me read that again. It said longer droughts and harsher heat waves can destroy harvests, reduce access to safe drinking water, and increase the risk of heat illness, malnutrition, and respiratory problems linked to dust and wildfire smoke. It says these disruptions, right, can also undermine local safety and economic stability as farmers lose income, food prices climb, businesses struggle with water shortages, and families are forced to relocate when resources can no longer support them. All right? You know? And a lot of that is gonna come to Babylon the Great. You know, it's gonna be a whole lot of people moving around because of the drop, major significant drop of the economy. All right, and that can happen. Hey, you can read about the Great Migration. All right, or what they call the Black Migration. You know, when Jake, began in I'm gonna say the 1910s to the 1970s. You know, you had a lot of Jakes. Slocky. You had a lot of Jakes. Migrate or disperse to Slocky. Okay, Slocky. I said 1910s. It's 1916 to the 19. Well, Slocky. Nope. I was right. 1910. 1910 to the 1970s, between the 1910 and 1970. All right, you had a lot of so-called Black Americans depart from the southern part of the United States. All right, and migrated to what you call to the East Coast. Yeah, a lot of them moved to the East Coast. New York, New Jersey. Chicago, Missouri. All right, that's why you got a lot of Jakes in the East Coast. New York, Chicago, Pittsburgh. Indiana, Illinois. Wisconsin. Colorado. and Salaki. Yeah, I can go on. Los Angeles. Hey, that's why you have a lot of Jakes there because it's begun with the Great Migration. You know that occurred, that transpired in between 1910 to the 1970s. All right, and they one of the reasons why that they migrated because of the economy. Slovakia. Matter of fact, I'm gonna read it right here. I just pulled it up. It says right here, and this is just one of them. One of the reasons why they migrated. It says economic oppression. You see, economic oppression, and like the scriptures say in Proverbs, Ecclesiastes 1:9. You know that the thing that had been, it shall be. All right, so we come into another time where it's gonna be a economic oppression. It says sharecropping and tenant farming created a cycle of debt and poverty, which was worsened by agricultural disasters. You see, like the boll weevil infestation that devastated cotton crops. You see? So they moved for better wages, all right? And education. All right? So it says migrants sought higher paying industrial jobs and better educational opportunities for their children. All right. But the point is that was one of the reasons, the same reasons why Jakes migrated. It says longer droughts and harsher heat waves can destroy harvests, reduce access to safe drinking water, and increase the risk of heat illness, malnutrition, and respiratory problems linked to dust and wildfires. These disruptions can also undermine local safety and economic stability. You see, as farmers lose income, food prices climb, businesses struggle with water shortages, and families are forced to relocate when resources can no longer support them. So like I said, you're finna have a lot of migration going on. All right, you're gonna have a lot of people going back to their own countries. The scriptures prophesied about that. All right, it says the drying of the Euphrates is also part of a much bigger pattern. As the planet overheats, many regions are facing more severe drought, shrinking fresh water. So once again, this is something that you don't hear on the mainstream. This is way more important than what they putting on there. All right, this is something that people should know about. All right, it says as the planet overheats, many regions are facing more severe drought, shrinking freshwater reserves, and growing competition over water. That makes the Euphrates a warning sign of what can happen when hotter temperatures collide with overuse and weak regional planning. Right, scientists are tracking the basin using satellite data and groundwater research, giving governments a clear picture of how quickly the region is losing water. There you go. Experts have long said one of the biggest priorities is stronger cross-border coordination among Turkey, Syria, and Iraq, so the river system can be managed more sustainably. But I want to get this in Revelation, the 16th chapter. That's like it. Revelation 16 and 12. It says, "And the sixth angel poured out his veil upon the great river Euphrates." You see that? "And the water thereof was dried up." Plain and simple, man. All right, this is exactly what we're seeing. All right, and for what purpose? It says that the way of the kings of the east may be prepared. Okay? Because, like we read, this is in the Middle East. And this is where the Third World War will take place. Okay? This is where the Third World War is going to take place. We read it right here. It said the Euphrates River, a waterway closely tied to the both early civilizations and biblical history, is shrinking rapidly as rising global temperatures, prolonged drought, and heavy water use increasingly strain fresh waters. All right, supplies in the Middle East. So as we just read, in Revelation 16 and 12, it's so that the way of the kings of the east might be prepared. Those armies that the Lord is going to gather over there is going to happen. The Euphrates River has to be dried up, because that's going to become a battlefield over there. All right. Let me see what it says in NLT. So they don't know that, hey, that river is being dried up, because the Third World War is going to take place here pretty soon. It said, "Then the sixth angel poured out his bowl on the great Euphrates River and dried it up, so that the kings from the east could march their armies." Whoo! You see that? Could march their armies toward the west without hindrance. You see? Let's see something. Yeah. Okay. So this is a major prophecy that's come to pass, man. This ain't nothing to gloss over. And like the scriptures say, now is a high time to wake out of sleep. For our salvation is nearer than we believe, man. Hey, Yahushua said, when we see these things, look up, for our salvation is near. So Lord willing, this is edifying. Until next time I say shalom.